Okay, let's jump in. Today, we're not really talking about your typical home theater boom. We're doing a deep dive into something a bit different, infrastructure audio. Specifically, we're looking at the Kramer CL-8P SUP. It's an 8-inch passive in-ceiling subwoofer. Our mission here is to figure out what makes a subwoofer like this tick when it's designed for, complex commercial buildings. It's a whole different ballgame than just home audio.
It really is, and this Kramer unit is a perfect example of how commercial gear is often driven more by, let's say, logistics and, crucially, fire safety, not just pure audio specs. I mean, the first thing is it has to basically disappear visually.
Right, blend in.
Exactly. So it's low profile, pretty lightweight for what it is, and they even ship it with both black and white magnetic grills. Bezel-less too, so it sits flush.
And that price is interesting too, right? About $396, marked down from nearly $500. That suggests they expect to sell a lot of these to integrators.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That price point screams volume project sales. But where it gets technically really interesting, I think, is the flexibility. The sources all point to its dual impedance architecture.
Okay, so dual impedance. Why offer both? You've got the standard low impedance, like 8 ohms, and also high impedance, 70 or 100 volt.
Yeah.
Is that just to cover all bases, small rooms, and giant airports?
That's precisely it. It's a huge differentiator in this market. So the low impedance, 8 ohms, that handles 80 watts continuous. Good power, perfect for maybe a single room, a small retail space, something localized.
Okay.
But the moment you're talking about a large hotel, a campus, sprawling buildings with long cable runs, you absolutely need high impedance, 70 volt or 100 volt systems. That lets an engineer run potentially miles of cable and dozens, maybe hundreds of these speakers off just one or a few central amplifiers. Big efficiency gain.
And looking at the specs, the power taps on the high impedance side seem really granular.
Yeah, exactly. So on a 100-volt line, you can choose 80 watts, 40 watts, or 20 watts per speaker. But for 70-volt systems, they add an even lower option, 10 watts, alongside the 80, 40, and 20.
So what does that 10-watt tap let you do in practice?
Well, think about it. You could run the sub at, say, 80 watts in a busy, noisy main lobby, but then down a quiet corridor, maybe an executive office wing, you can tap the same system down to just 10 watts. It gives the system designer really precise control over sound levels and power usage across different zones, all from the same central amp setup. It's smart power management.
Okay, that makes sense. But, these big commercial projects, all that flexibility doesn't mean much if it doesn't meet safety codes, right?
Yeah.
What are the big regulatory hurdles here?
Yes. This is probably the most critical constraint for anything going into a ceiling space, especially a commercial one. This subwoofer is plenum rated UL 2043.
Plenum rated. Remind us what that means again.
So the plenum, that's the space above a drop ceiling, often used for air circulation in HVAC systems. That UL 2043 rating means the materials used in the speaker, its plastics, its wiring, everything, have been tested and certified and not to significantly contribute to spreading fire or toxic smoke through that air system if something goes wrong. It's a huge safety requirement.
And they didn't just stop at the general plenum rating, did they? I see it's also UL 1480A certified.
Right, that's another layer. UL 1480A specifically relates to speakers used for fire protective signaling systems. This certification means the speaker isn't just for background music or announcements, it's actually verified to function reliably as part of an emergency alert system. Think fire alarms, evacuation notices. It has to work when it absolutely matters most.
Wow. Okay, so it's built for critical safety infrastructure, not just tunes.
Exactly. And if you connect those safety needs back to the physical design, you see things like the front access wiring terminal.
Makes sense for installation and troubleshooting later, I guess.
Definitely. Easier to wire up, easier to fix if something goes wrong years down the line without ripping the ceiling apart. And then you have those simple 4-point dog ear clamps for mounting. They're designed for quick, secure installation by crews on a busy site. Robust and practical.
Let's talk about the actual driver for a sec. It's an 8-inch low-frequency driver with a polypropylene cone. Why polypropylene? Is that different from what you might find in, say, high-end home audio?
It often is, yeah. Polypropylene is really valued here for its durability and stability. Think about the environment in a ceiling plenum. It can have temperature swings, maybe some humidity. Polypropylene holds up really well over time in those conditions. It's about long-term reliability, maybe even more than hitting that last tiny bit of audiophile nuance. It needs to last for decades.
Right, durability over ultimate fidelity. And I also saw it's TAA compliant.
TAA, Trade Agreements Act. That basically means it's approved for sale to the U.S. government, often a requirement for big federal, state, or institutional projects, schools, government buildings.
So that opens up a huge potential market.
A very significant one, yes. Performance-wise, it's respectable for this type of unit. Frequency range goes down to 45 hertz, which is decent bass extension for an 8-inch ceiling sub. Max SPL is 105 dB peak solid output. Oh, and one other practical note, it's quite heavy. 8.05 kilograms, that's like 17.75 pounds per speaker. Tells you it's built pretty solidly.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. What's the big picture here for someone trying to understand this kind of product? We've seen this Kramer sub combines serious electrical flexibility, that dual impedance thing, with really strict safety compliance like UL 2043 and 1480A.
I think the main takeaway really is that when you move into large-scale integrated audio for buildings, the design priorities shift dramatically. Yes, sound matters, but power management across vast systems and, critically, fire safety and code compliance often become the primary engineering drivers. The audio performance almost becomes secondary to meeting those infrastructure needs.
So understanding those commercial safety ratings, it really opens your eyes to a whole different set of constraints compared to home audio.
Absolutely. You're not just buying a speaker, you're buying certified fire protection, you're buying distributed power control capabilities, and yeah, you get some good, solid bass thrown in as part of the package. It's a different philosophy entirely.